Hello and welcome to another episode of Workshop Wednesday. We took a bit of a break from this series, but we're back, and in today's episode it's the first of the new month, so it is Tool of the Month time, and today we're going to be talking about oil filter removal tools. These filter removal tools are quite important because every time you change your oil on your piece of equipment, you should really change the oil filter as well, since that is basic maintenance. So these tools will get used quite a lot, and we'll go through all of the different tools that we've used over the years for this job and what we thought of them. And by the end, we will be having a look in the shiny box at the bottom to show you what we think is our answer to the problem. And to demonstrate with today, I'm going to be using this unused oil filter, which is to fit a Kohler twin, which is found in the Boland's HT23 and HT20. It's important to say that when you're installing an oil filter, you should always put a ring of oil around the rubber seal there. And also you should be able to do it up and then undo it again by hand. And if someone before has not put a layer of oil on the rubber seal, or over tightened it, then you won't be able to get it off by hand, and you will need one of these removal tools. Sometimes you also need a removal tool if it's in a bit of a difficult location and you can't really get leverage on it to take it off. Now on to the first of the tools or methods, and this one is a bit, let's just say, primitive, with a screwdriver, and I blame the cameraman for telling me about this one, and I haven't done it, but I'm sure he has in the past, and I definitely wouldn't recommend for you to try this. But basically, you get your screwdriver, you put it up to your oil filter. I won't demonstrate because I want to keep this one intact, and then you hit the other end with the hammer until the screwdriver goes through it, and then you just kind of twist that and use it as a lever to turn the oil filter, which I think will definitely keep away from. On to the next tool, and it's a pretty simple one, which I've never used, but Dad has showed me how to use it. It's basically a chain, and then you have this piece here which has a socket hole in the end, or you can put a spanner on it, and what you do is you turn it round so that it takes up all the slack and grips the filter, and then that can turn the filter and take it off. Now the downsides of this is that you can only really have it so it's that way, so if you can't access the filter from this direction, that's not very helpful, and also it often damages the filter and can put a hole in the filter because it's obviously squeezing it, which means that you could get oil coming out of it. Now the next one is pretty basic. It's a pair of pliers, and then you just grip around the filter and then turn it, which again, that will damage the filter. On to the next one, which are these, and I can't really demonstrate on this filter because this is designed for a small one. I'm sure you could get bigger versions of this tool, but what you do is you put it over the filter, and then as you turn it anti-clockwise to get the filter off, this gap gets smaller, gripping around the filter, at which point then once it's gripped enough, you can then pull it round. An advantage of this is the fact that you've got this movement on the handle, so you can move the handle to suit the position of the filter if it's not very easy to access. Now we have this, which is a two-way oil filter wrench, and what you do with this is you place it on here, and then you can either get a socket or a breaker bar or something, and then put it on here. Then you turn this the direction you want, so anti-clockwise to take it off. Then that grips around the filter, and then you could turn it to take it off. Now that could also damage the filter, but not as badly as the other ones. So up until now in the video, we've gone through all of the tools that we've used in the past for this job. Some of them have worked better than others, but they haven't fully suited our needs. So a while back, we went and bought this tool, which is actually still in the packaging, because soon after buying it, we found this one, but we'll get onto that later in the video. So I thought we might as well, for the sake of this video, unbox this. This is a Sealy, and model number is AK6403. Now, this works very similarly to the other tool with the chain. Except it has this strap, which means that it won't actually damage the filter when it goes around it. And it's more versatile because on one end the socket is a 3/8 drive, and the other end is a 1/2 inch drive, so matches two different socket set sizes. And then it still has the parts to fit a 21mm or 3/16 inch open-ended spanner, as this reliably informs us. But let's get on to the big box. Before we move on to the big box, we were just reading the information on the card here of this tool, and this actually has the ability to work on a filter up to a diameter of 300mm, which is quite impressive, seeing as most of our engines in our tractors don't even have a diameter of 300mm. However, actually this time we will move on to the big box. Finally, onto the big box. And this was advertised as a 23-piece cap type oil filter wrench set, which this was an overseas purchase, so the quality wasn't the best, but if you use it carefully, it is pretty good, and by pretty good I mean very good. You can see by the state of this graph that we have already used it before, and this graph shows you the type number, which each of these have a number on, and that has the diameter and the tooth, and then what cars have that sized filter on, or what brands have that sized filter on. Now, for our tractors, we haven't actually found a filter yet that doesn't fit this. If I just pick one at random to show you what they look like, you can see they've got a certain number of teeth, and then they go over the end. This one's a bit loose for that one. If I predict what size would fit this, I'll go with that one, partly because it's slightly dirty from where we've used it before, and yeah, that is the correct size for that one. And then you just put on, say, the ratchet on there, and then you could either undo it or do it up if the filter was positioned in a difficult place to get to, and this does little to no damage to the filter as well. Also, you can use this spanner to go over that part of the filter of the wrench set. And to prove that we haven't found a filter that doesn't fit, this is our biggest filter fitted to one of our tractors. This is the transmission filter for one of our Boland's HTs or large frames. Now, this Type 909 appears to be around the right size. You can see quite a bit of plate. Oh, there's a decent amount of play in that. So if we look at the sheet here, 909, that has a diameter of 92 millimeters and 15 teeth. Then if we look at one that's similar, there's a 915, which has different carbines that fit it, but is the same size. So it's slightly different, and if we try that on here, you can see there's no play at all. So as I said before, this wrench set has been very useful. Now on to prices then, and as we said before, this was an overseas purchase for us. Now at the time that we bought this cost us £19, and I'll do some quick conversions for you. And now that we've got at least one confirmed European viewer in Alberto, who comments quite regularly, so thank you Alberto, we will now do the euro conversion, which is about 22 euros, or 30 Canadian dollars, or around 23 United States dollars. However, since we actually bought this, it's gone up in price by quite a lot actually. It's now £32, which is about 37 euros, or 50 Canadian dollars, or 39 USD. And however, if you looked around on the internet, you could probably find some cheaper, more locally. So in conclusion, we think this is a very worthwhile tool to get. Even with the higher price tag that this now carries, we still think it's worth it, even though we're very happy that we got that when we did for the lower price. Only thing that's a slight concern is the fact that these are cast aluminium. So maybe if you put too much pressure on or dropped it, it has a chance of cracking. However, in our experience of doing a few filters using these, they haven't cracked under pressure or anything, and I don't really intend on dropping one to see how gravity resistant it is. What we're probably going to do with these is get a paint pen or something and write some of the information off of the sheet on them, with like the diameter and how many teeth there are on them, because that just saves time looking at this sheet all the time, and it's probably going to get lost, and you can already see how mucky it is. But this sheet might come in handy for some people if they work on many different cars. But that's it for this video. It would be interesting to hear your thoughts on this tool, or what other tools you use, whether you use one of these. If you do use a screwdriver, however, please stop and use one of the others. But that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode of Workshop Wednesday. Bye.